Hi fellow crafters. Today I want to show you how to add color to your cards using my top 3 coloring tools. Each of these tools will add a different look to your cards and the result is fabulous. I'm going to be using my Daisy Delight bundle for my card, but you can use whatever stamp set and set of dies you have on hand. Shall we get started? If this is the first time you're visiting my channel, hi, I'm Terri from nutsaboutstamping.com. I love sharing techniques and project ideas for rubber stamping, paper crafting, and scrapbooking with you each week. Be sure to hit that red subscribe button and the bell beside it so that you'll be the first to be notified when my next video goes live. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator yet, I would love it if you would choose me. I'll link to my online stores in the description box under this video. Now, let's get our coloring vibes on. I'm going to start off by getting my card base ready, and then I will show you my top 3 coloring tools. My card base is going to be basic white, and it's going to be a portrait layout. And to that, I'm going to add 2 strips of the Dainty Fields Designer Series paper. So this paper is a limited time offer that you can earn for free through Celebration. So until February 28th, 2023, you can earn this pack of paper with a $50 product order if you live in the US, or if you live in certain countries in Europe, you can make a €60 purchase and get this pack of paper for free. One side has these sort of muted designs and the other side has beautiful florals. So lots of uses for this paper. So what I'm going to do is use my multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm going to attach 1 strip to the left side and 1 strip to the right side, and my card base will be ready. There we go. I'm going to set this aside to dry for a bit. And the next thing I want to do is bring in a scrap piece of basic white cardstock. And I have this very large stamp from the Dainty Delights stamp set. And I'm going to ink it up using the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And I'm going to stamp it down towards the top part of this layer that will go on the card front. There we go. And now the next thing I want to do is bring back in my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And I have the Celebrate You stamp from the same stamp set. I love that it has floral images and it also has some phrases. So it's basically a one-stop shop. All right, now I'm going to show you my favorite coloring tools. The first tool I'm going to share with you that I use for coloring is the Stampin Write dual-tipped markers. Now you don't see me use these markers very much in my videos, but I certainly use them a lot at home when I'm just crafting for myself. Stampin Write markers have dual tips. So there's the brush end, which is a wider end used for coloring. And then on the other end, they have a fine tip that you can use for writing. I use these markers for a lighter look on my projects. You can also color images before stamping them, so you can actually apply this ink directly to stamps. Works best with rubber stamps rather than photopolymer. And then you just stamp them directly onto your cardstock. So what I'm going to do for this particular stamped image is I'm going to use the Blushing Bride marker, and I'm going to use the lighter tip or the finer tip, and I'm going to color these tiny flowers that are at the top of this image. Now I'm not sure you can really see it, but there definitely is a pink color to those flowers. So the next tool that I'm going to use are my Stampin Blends. I am absolutely in love with this particular coloring tool. Stampin Blends are alcohol markers, and when you use them to color stamped images, they give you beautiful, rich, saturated, smooth colors. So you do not use these directly on your stamps before stamping them. No, they're only used when you stamp an image and then are ready to color them. Now, what you do need to know is the ink from Stampin Blends will bleed through your cardstock, so make sure you have grid paper or scrap paper underneath so that you protect your work surface. So I am going to use Daffodil Delight and Fresh Freesia, and I'm going to use one of my old olive Stampin Blends. So each Stampin Blend comes in a pack of 2. So you get a light and you get a dark. So I'm going to use both the light and dark here and here, but I'm only going to use the light to outline the stems and the leaves. I'm going to color in the leaves on this stamped image. Very similar to Stampin Write Markers, Stampin Blends have a brush end and then they have a finer end. And again, it depends on how large your stamped image is. For my project, I'm going to use the lighter or the thinner end. So I've added the old olive Stampin' Blend to all of the leaves and stems on my layer. Now the next thing I'm going to do is take my Fresh Freesia and I'm going to color some of the flowers. I'm going to color these smaller flowers on this stamped image, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I've got the Fresh Freesia colored in, and now for the remaining flowers, I'm going to use my Daffodil Delight Stampin' Blends. There we go, the stamped image is colored and this layer is ready for my next favorite coloring tool. Finally, I'm going to add color using my small blending brushes. Stampin' Up! Came out with a set of 3 of these in the brand new mini catalog. So of course, I had to get a set to go with the larger set that I already have. So these are available, the larger ones in the annual catalog and the small ones are available in the mini catalog. The small tip allows you to apply ink with precision, and the velvety soft bristles blend ink perfectly. So what I'm going to do is bring in a very nasty piece of grid paper that I always keep on hand for when I'm adding color off and on a layer for my cards. And I'm going to use Daffodil Delight. I want to pull out the yellow color. So what I'm going to do is just tap the blending brush. I'm going to start off and then brush on in a circular motion. I don't want a lot of really dark yellow added to this layer. And I think what I'll do is I will have sort of the darker at the top and then blend lighter and lighter towards the bottom. And there we go. I've got the Daffodil Delight color added. One thing I forgot to mention is how easy it is to clean these brushes up. You just run them under cool water until the ink color completely runs off the brush. I just sort of shake my brush and then lay it this way up to dry overnight, and then it's good to go for adding my next color. So this coloring tool is a brand new favorite that I've just added to my collection. So now let's go ahead and finish off the card. Now I am perfectly happy with this layer and it could be ready just to add to the front of my card, but I'm going to add a couple more details. In the Dainty Delight die pack, there is this flower die that die cuts 4 different flowers, and the flower shape matches the flowers that I colored using Daffodil Delight. So I have this scrap piece of Daffodil Delight cardstock, and what I'm going to do is die cut these flowers out and add them to this stamped image. So I will stop the video, head over to my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and die cut the flowers, and then I'll show you how I'm going to add them to the front of my card. I have the flowers die cut out, And what I did was I added a mini Stampin' Dimensional to 2 of them. And I'm just going to peel off the tail, and I'm going to add one there. And I'm going to add the second one right here. And then these other 2, I'm going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue and add them to this layer. And then I'll show you how we're going to finish off the card. There we go. So these little flowers that have the mini Stampin' Dimensionals underneath them just add a bit of lift and visual interest to this card layer. Now the next thing I want to do is, I don't really like this white space that's between the stamped image and the phrase. So I have a tiny scrap piece of fresh freesia cardstock, and I am just going to adhere it down to separate the phrase from the stamped image. Yes, that makes me much happier, and it pulls the fresh freesia color out of the stamped image and then through the designer series paper as well. I am really happy with how these 3 coloring tools have created this beautiful layer for the card front. Now, if you would like to see another video using blending brushes, then why not watch this video next? Now it is time to add this layer to the front of my card, and I think I am just going to adhere it flat. So I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to put some multi-purpose liquid glue on this layer and then put it on the front of the card. There we go. It's all attached to the front of the card, and I have decided to add some embellishments as well for my final touch. So I have these little dots, and they're quite matte, they're not shiny, and I'm going to add a small one to these die cut flowers just to add a bit more visual interest. And there we go, my card is done and ready to send off to celebrate somebody's birthday. If you would like a listing of the supplies that I used, I will link to my blog article in the description box underneath this video. You can link over there, you can see everything that I used, and I'll make sure I add product ordering numbers to my blog post in case you would like to add my favorite coloring tools to your crafting collection. I'm Terry, I'm nuts about stamping. I'll see you at the next video. Bye for now.